They're coming, they're coming.
Where's our other detective? Oh, there you are. Good morning. How are you? All right.
Hey, Darlene, how are you? Okay, is everybody up to good? Everybody safe? All right, good morning.
Okay. All right, good morning, everyone. So we are pleased to announce that we have an arrest associated with the Dooky Chase restaurant homicide that occurred. The most important thing that I want to state right from the beginning is that the restaurant itself, Dooky Chase, was not the target. And that this was, and we knew at the time that the homicide occurred, that this was a very targeted homicide murder, but targeted of our victim who died. And so it just happened to be in this location. And I know that the family and the community are grateful and have been so supportive, but they have not been the target. And I just wanted to start out with that. That is the most important thing. You all know that we have made 2 arrests in this situation. The person who we believe is the shooter and have probable cause for the arrest of a second-degree murder is a 19-year-old by the name of Micaiah Kelly. We also arrested a second person associated with a vehicle that we know was a part of this homicide event, and that person's name is Anthony Johnson, and he is 22 years old. I want to take a moment first and foremost as well to share with you who are the ones who really do this work. We always roll out the top brass, you know that, but it is so important that you need to know that we are just the conductors. The people who are doing the work are right here to my left. This are 2 members of our homicide unit, and that is the Sergeant Constantine, and then Detective Lewis. They have been working tirelessly behind the scene, and I know sometimes when things seem quiet, you think, what are we doing? Well, we know that they're out there night and day collecting the evidence, following every single lead. So for these 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks, that's what they have been doing tirelessly. This is also a team effort. We speak about partnerships, but that's why we have our FBI with us, FBI SAC, Jonathan Tapp, his team. We have State Patrol. We have Crime Stoppers. We have so many people that we are actually, our partnerships are so excellent that we actually roll out like a machine. We know what to do. When I got on the scene at Dooky Chase, I was there within probably 30 minutes of the event. By the time I was at the scene, FBI had already rolled out. We had people, that's why we are a partnership, not in name only. And so I want to thank our partners with that. And now I'm actually going to say that our prayers really are for the victims as well, who have survived this situation. Our young woman from California who is so incredibly injured, and yet we are grateful that it appears that she is going to have a recovery. And we are sorry that this event even happened to you as a visitor to our city. This is not who we are. We are a fabulous city. We are a city that we want our visitors can come and have a high degree of confidence to know that we are doing everything. We police progressively, and so we're going to have an incredible, wonderful Mardi Gras. We have plans that are to the absolute top of preparedness. So now I'm going to turn it over to the representative, our Deputy Mayor of Public Safety, and he will speak on the behalf of the mayor, and then we'll have Chief Gernon, who's the Chief over Investigations, have a few words. Deputy Chief, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you so much, Superintendent, and good morning to everyone. And first and foremost, I want to begin by expressing our deepest gratitude to the Superintendent and the members of the New Orleans Police Department. Their diligence, their professionalism, their laser focus in this investigation has been nothing short of spectacular and extraordinary. From day one, They committed themselves to ensuring justice was served, and their tireless efforts have made that possible. So next, I want to acknowledge the incredible coordination, as the superintendent mentioned, and partnership that made this outcome even possible. This is not the work of one agency alone or one person alone. It's a united effort between Darlene Costanza and Crime Stoppers, the Louisiana State Police, the FBI, the New Orleans Police Department, and we shared our resources, our intelligence, and our expertise. This level of collaboration is what keeps our city safe and demonstrates the strength in our public safety network. So finally, I want to say thank you to the, the people of New Orleans. Your support and trust in law enforcement were critical. When our community stands together, we're stronger, and today is the classic example of that strength. So we urge the public to keep sending tips to Crime Stoppers. Your participation in reporting tips to law enforcement helps us to work faster. No information is too small, no information is insignificant. So on behalf of Mayor Moreno, who sends her congratulations, her compliments, and her thanks to all of us here, we want to say that we assure you that we remain committed to protecting every neighborhood and every family in this city, and we remain committed to making a safe city for the visitors who want to visit and enjoy New Orleans. So thank you for standing with us today. Together we will continue to build a safer, stronger New Orleans.
Chief Garner.
Good morning, everyone. So I want to walk you through a little bit of how we got to this spot here, right? So when this murder originally happened, Detective Shondell Fields, who's one of our best detectives in the unit, immediately got to work with her and her team, led by Sergeant Constantine and the entire NOPD squad. They immediately started to coordinate with Sergeant Jennifer Payne of the NOPD's VCATE unit, started doing a number of intelligence-based policing techniques, surveillance, phone dumps, things of that nature. State Police was really instrumental in this. I'd specifically like to cite Jack Ewell from Louisiana State Police. His work with our VCATE unit in helping us track down a lot of the data and information that we were getting in helped us to vet where we were, what information was valid, what information was not valid, and that led to a substantial amount of not only technological work that was being done here, right? So we always think of the technology with phones and cameras and license plate readers, but also just the old-fashioned police work, the long days and weeks of surveillance, the knocking on doors, the interviewing of people. So all of that kind of came together. And then the last few days, there are some people that I'm going to kind of mention here, but they know who they are. I can't say their names, is that there are individuals within New Orleans who gave us information. They called in tips. They helped us figure out who we needed to talk to. And there are specifically some parents of young people in New Orleans who stepped up and said, you know what, I think my child has information. I think my child can help you guys, and they came forward and they pushed their children to come forward and give us the information that we needed, which successfully led to us last night being able to locate Mr. Kelly in the 4600 block of America Street. Extensive surveillance, again, coupled with tips from the community and information that was coming in. When we saw Mr. Kelly, we were able to take him into custody without any kind of incident, executed a search warrant at his house. We got some items that we think might be important to the investigation, but they did not stop with just arresting the shooter. They continued on and located Mr. Johnson in the 2700 block of North Galvez. Mr. Johnson was the getaway driver, if you will. He was the wheelman. He was the person that Mr. Kelly ran to, jumped in his car, and took off after this incident occurred. Mr. Johnson was also taken into custody and will be charged with principal to second-degree murder, which carries the same weight as the second-degree murder charge. And then we executed search warrants in the 2700 block of North Johnson, as well as on Port Street, which was another house associated with Mr. Johnson. And we also seized the getaway vehicle as well, and we'll be doing search warrants on that. So this is a lot of information that came together. And like the chief said, sometimes it feels like we're not giving out a lot of information. That's because detectives like Detective Field is over here working 16, 18-hour days overnight in the middle of the night doing surveillance with people like Sergeant Payne's surveillance team, as well as Jack Ewell and his team from the State Police, and our partners from the FBI, who are doing a tremendous amount of analysis for us on the back end and knocking on doors. That night, FBI was out there knocking on doors for us, helping us look for surveillance, helping us look for individuals that we could that could give us information. So this is really an example of what goes into many of the investigations of this nature. This is not just for high-profile investigations like this. This is what kind of goes into most of our investigations. We just don't often get the opportunity to kind of showcase it in this manner. Reese?
Okay. Darlene?
First, I want to say from the Crime Stoppers perspective, You know, we're the ones that are out there talking to citizens. I really want to thank the community, the business community who stepped up to help with this. We posted our reward, and then immediately after we put the 5,000 up, we had the New Orleans Business Council, we had the Restaurant Association, we had members of the Business Council, everybody coming together to increase that reward because we wanted to be as helpful as we can be. So first, thank you to those individuals. But sitting behind the scenes and taking the tips and hearing this for years, I've got to say congratulations to the detectives and all of those who worked. I know personally how hard they worked. This is every case, but I see it, and I just want to make sure that the public sees it too. Incredible talent, incredible dedication, and they never stop. So thank you so much to all of the agencies involved. We appreciate it.
Chief?
Okay. So before we go further, I owe you an apology, Detective Fields. I think I called you Detective somebody else. I apologize to you. Names are important as a sign of showing respect. And so Detective Fields, but you are a star, and I want to thank you. So,
All right,
questions for anyone?
We'll open up questions. We're gonna start over here with Constable.
Do we have a motive yet?
I don't know that you
Yeah.
can speak to it, but go ahead.
We can't
Chief.
speak to it. Obviously, in Louisiana criminal law, motive is not always a necessary element that we need to prove. Getting a motive in this case really means getting into the inside of the head of the shooter, and that's not something that we've really kind of come to a definite answer on yet.
Josh?
Yeah, we're hearing one of the suspects possibly at some point, maybe during the interrogation, tried to hurt themselves, light themselves on fire, I
Yep.
believe was the specifics. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah.
Can you tell who it was?
There is. The shooter last night, while he was sitting in the 7th District interrogation room, the detectives were prepping his arrest paperwork, set some of his clothes on fire. Detectives immediately put it out with a fire extinguisher. The fire department was called. EMS came out. He was checked out. He didn't really have any injuries, but just as a out of precaution, we also stopped at the hospital on the way to jail. Hospital did a once-over. Physically, he's fine, and it was more of a mess than it was an injury, and he was brought to the lockup.
Thank you. And Mr. Kelly was still believed to be the only shooter in this case, or the one who pulled the trigger?
Correct.
That's
Mr.
still-
Kelly's the shooter. Mr. Johnson's the getaway driver.
John Paul?
Good morning. The family of the victim, over here. The family of the victim stated before the next day that they kind of gave you guys an idea who they thought may have been the shooter. Can you confirm if this individual is that same person that the family took you up to?
Yeah. So we know what they gave us. We know how that worked out, but that's kind of case sensitive at this time, so we're not gonna be able to speak on that.
Anam?
You all put out the two images of the two men yesterday, person of interest. Did that help escalate where we are today? Were those two men these two suspects?
So these
Yeah,
two men were not these
yeah.
two suspects, but every piece of information we've gotten in the last 2 weeks, including information we learned after we put out those photographs, led us to this moment.
So were you able to speak to those two person of interest yesterday?
We did. Yeah, we put that on a press release last night. Yeah.
So whenever you have murders like this, people talk. We know people talk. And so it is a matter of putting all the information together.
Does 26 have questions? Did I miss anyone?
Yeah, so you mentioned some kids who eventually came forward. Was that after we kind of talked about the persons of interest yesterday, or was that kind of in the past?
Yeah, I think we're gonna leave that one as unanswered at this time, just for out of our own abundance of caution for witness and victim safety.
If you'll notice, I always, for a practice, want the chief of the investigators to be the one to speak. He knows what he wants to, he's comfortable with releasing, and so, and he's the one who's gonna have the most information. So the Chief Gurnis, if you have detailed questions, that he will be answering those.
Is Crime Stoppers still requesting tips on this particular investigation, or is there still?
We, you know, if there's more information that helps us prevent anything in the future, we want your information. So it's still, you know,
Absolutely, yes. If you have information, send it in. Law enforcement will make that decision on how it's used.
such as motives or anything like that. We, you know, any piece of information is always helpful.
All right, thank you all for
Okay.
coming out. We
All right,
appreciate it.
thank you. All right, thank you guys for coming, Chief. Thank you, Chief.
They did a great job.
Thanks for coming. I know everybody said,